everyone, it's Susie, Crypto Granny here. Hope you're all well, looking after yourselves, looking after your beautiful family, your beautiful animals and friends, and looking after other people and animals in the world just to make this world a better place. Now, the crypto market is bouncing today. I'm ultra bullish that everything's in place to see a big rally in cryptocurrency. Not only do you have some of the main news stories, the US President, Mr. Trump, about to or has signed an executive order to open up 401k superannuation funds in America. I do believe that there will be interest cuts, massive interest rate cuts in the US going forward. We just saw the Bank of England cut interest rates, citing weak economic growth, even though there is inflation in the system. I think the US will go the same way. Mr. Trump's made it very clear that he'd like to replace the chair of the FOMC, Federal Opens Market Committee, Mr. Jeremy Powell, simply because he feels that he's behind the curve and he's not doing his job properly. And that's an environment where crypto can really fly. Okay, it's as simple as that. So in the media at the moment, the main news stories are Chainlink, XRP pretty much dominates the media at the moment. Simply because of a lady who was the founder of Custodia Bank, Catelyn Long, who basically said that XRP is centralized and it's got issues and that banks will never use a centralized system. Effectively, you got to think about this because the banks are doing their own cryptocurrency technology as well on their own networks. And possibly XRP and XRP Ledger are in direct competition with the banks. I mean, Ripple is a private company. It doesn't have a credit rating. So that's a big negative, I have to say. And the banks may be very cautious to use a private company when it doesn't have its own credit rating by Standard & Poor's or Moody's, and also when it's effectively a direct competitor to the banks themselves. So it doesn't surprise me. The banks we know have been tardy on taking up crypto technology, and this is why Mr. Trump has to do legislation to literally fine the banks not taking on cryptocurrency networks or technology, the new technology. It's almost akin to when the internet came out in 1992 or 1993, and say the banks. It's akin to that analogy. So the banks are trying to block the new technology of the internet. Okay, well, the way I see it, the banks have been blocking cryptocurrency technology for a long time, and yet now every company in the world wants to buy crypto. And we saw Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan fall on his sword, right? 5 years ago, he's talking scams and Bitcoin and everything else. But it's simply because they didn't understand the technology, right? If you understand the technology of Bitcoin, it's absolutely genius. It's decentralized, it's peer-to-peer. It offers freedom where you can hold your own coin in your own custody, okay? And nowhere can you get that in centralized systems like the banks. They're totally centralized. Even funds, right? If you invest in funds can, lock up or refuse. We saw that in 2001 with the World Trade Center horrible story, with the terrorist attack, right? Funds actually locked up and you couldn't actually get your money out, right? And crypto doesn't do that. It's peer-to-peer, it's decentralized, and it offers total freedom from the centralized banking system. And that's why I believe crypto is here to stay, even though it's taken a long time for people to pick it up. I mean, Bitcoin's been around, according to Live Coin Watch, for 16 odd years, okay? And I think Mr. Trump is doing the right thing. He needs to open up the crypto markets and make, definitely fine the banks if they're stopping people from purchasing crypto, which they are, okay? Because it has a lot to do with their term deposits, how much money they have, so that they can literally rape and pillage people by, using their money to make money. And yet, no one sees that return, right? Apart from a term deposit rate, around 3% if you're lucky. Essentially, it's taken days to get your money, if your wage or if you withdraw the money, it comes out of your account, but then the payer doesn't get it for 5 days and gone. Those days should be gone. We've got now Web3 and we've got total decentralization. So, the banks are old school, whether you like it or not. So this is why the market's so bullish. I'm extremely bullish. It's like the perfect picture for this market to go full bull as far as I'm concerned. And I'm very happy to see this market up today. Even though I'm looking to buy, I'm very happy to see this market looking a bit better than it did a couple of days ago. So let's look at the market cap at the moment, 3.756 trill. Volume is large at the moment at nearly 121 bill, and liquidity is up at 9.858 bill. What's trending at the moment is Pepe. We own Pepe. VeChain we own. That's trending. What's the most upvoted is Verticoin, which I don't know, XRP, and Hedera Hashgraph, which we own as well. Bitcoin's currently at 116,517. Dominance is at 61.7051. As I said, that's going to go down further. Ethereum is at 3823, up 5.53%. XRP is up at 2.65% at 304. Binance 773. A lot of stories for XRP today, which we'll talk about. They've acquired an organization called Rail for stable coins. Also, South Korea are using a lot of XRP, so that's a good bullish story. But the main story XRP is Cat Long, the founder, criticizing XRP and saying the banks aren't going to use it. And then Mr. David Schwartz, saying, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I thought he was a bit arrogant, to be honest with his reply. Of course, she knows what she's talking about. She's been in banking for years, and she was the founder of Custodia Bank, right? And she would know more than anyone. Banks don't use any other network or custodian unless they've got a credit rating. It's as simple as that, right? They're not going to use a private company to custody their own crypto. They're going to do it themselves. And, whether you believe me or not, I know the XRP army hates it if you say anything negative against XRP. And as you know, I've been a huge supporter of XRP, but I look at the facts. Banks are actually in competition with XRP, and so are stablecoins and other networks out there that provide free payments like Tron, okay? Today, I told my clients to buy more Tron because it's going to be a mega nord, okay? It's cheap, 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 and it should be higher than 34 cents, right? Binance also, I love, it's at 773. It's a mega nord. It should be a lot higher than that to the volume and to the trading that does. It owns 75%, literally, of the trading market in crypto. And, they're making billions. People, all they have to do is retire or burn some of their coin, which they do. Binance burns coin every day. And, that thing's going to be at 1,500 before we can say Jack Robinson. Solano's at 170, up 1.5%. Tron looks like it's going to break out to me. Someone's been selling it, but it's, it keeps coming back. Even in a down market, Tron is performing, right? It's up 1.68 at 3.4. ADA is at 75. Dodge is at 0.21. Stellar at 0.41, up 4.6%. Link is the standout as far as I'm concerned, up 6%. Very cheap, people. Very cheap for what it does. At 17.58. Bear with me for a minute. And BCH, I love BCH because it's a cheap derivative to get into Bitcoin, right? If you can't afford Bitcoin, the cheapest solution is buying BCH, which I believe will outperform Bitcoin. Hedera, HBAR, is at 25 cents, up 3.45. Avalanche, I'm keeping an eye on to pick up some more at 22.56. Very, very cheap at the moment. You can mint your own tokens on Avalanche. You can do a lot, and they're actually increasing their client base and more activity in terms of network. And that's what you want to see, right? More network fees all the time, more clients adding, and more wallets. Pepe's held that 401. I like, the price action is very good. Another one we're keeping an eye on too is Crow. We used to own that 5 years ago. It's done recently very well in the last sort of couple of weeks or so because they're expanding globally. Also, we're keeping an eye on DOT. Hasn't performed very well, probably because there was a story out there about 9 months ago their treasury was running out of money, which is not a great story. Excuse me. And an underperformer has been VeChain, but they're an amazing story. So I'm keeping a very close eye on VeChain and a few others like also like Fetch Atom and a few others as well. But look, this market's cheap, people. It's cheap. And I am mega, mega bullish. I've got to tell you that. Anyway, grab yourself a cup of coffee or wherever you are in the world. Let's look at the technicals and then I'll have the news stories out there. I hope you like my new format. And, pretty much today, the news is all about XRP and Ripple, whether it's decentralized, whether it's not. Again, when you look at Bitcoin, there's 23,000 nodes. When you look at Ethereum, there's 7,000 nodes, and XRP has got about 1,000 nodes and probably about 150 validators, right? Is that decentralized? Well, I think more the better, really, more the better. So, compared to Bitcoin, it's harder to take over Bitcoin than it is XRP, right? With 1,000 nodes, there's an easier way of taking it over. You only need 51% of the nodes to actually hack the network, right? So with Bitcoin, 23,300 nodes or whatever, you literally got to take over, 12,000 of those nodes to hack the system. So that is going to make it very, very expensive. Anyway, grab yourself a cup of coffee and we'll look at the technicals and then we'll look at the news stories. Now we're looking at Bitcoin here for a 3 month and it looks very bullish. We're being given another buy on this thing, as you can see with the uptick here. 3 month volume is 292,000 and down volume is 274. It looks a lot better than it did yesterday. If we go to the daily on this one, and I like to look at the daily. Oh, actually, let's have a look at the 1 month actually. If you look at the 1 month, volume for the 1 month is up 36,000 and down is 47, okay? But if we look at the daily for Bitcoin, it's starting to bounce. And I think Bitcoin now being given a buy, it's above the VWAP, which is very bullish. And I think it could potentially get back to 122,000. I believe it will take out its previous high. Also, Michael Saylor was out there today saying that if 10% of the banks own Bitcoin, Bitcoin's going to be at $1 million, right, per unit. And I believe that because there's no Bitcoin left. It's one Apple in the world out of 8 billion people. And, many, many banks in the world, 50,000 banks or so. So to me, it's just a no-brainer. You got to think if Bitcoin's at $1 million per unit in 10 years' time, where's BCH going to be, right? BCH is a great buy, people, because it's cheap, and it's basically the same infrastructure and network as Bitcoin, okay, with a few more faster tweaks in terms of being able to validate more transactions, okay. The system's more efficient and a lot quicker. So, I'm a big supporter of BCH as well, whether you like Roger Ver or not, right? So this is above the VWAP, looks very good to me. If we go the 4 hour on this one, look at the daily also, volume 4.79 up, down is 3.79. So that's very conducive to a bullish Bitcoin. If we look at the 4 hour, 4 hours up is 115,000 volume, down is 1.24 volume, right? But look, we've been given a big wick here and we've been given a big buy on this and volume is increasing all the time. So I'm quite bullish Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin will take out its previous high and go higher, okay? Let's have a look at it, XRP. Everyone's talking about XRP today. I think XRP at the moment is overpriced, but that's my personal opinion. Please don't take it out on me on chat or whatever. But I think it's I think it's had an incredible performance at the moment and it needs something new, right? To me, there's other coins that are just as good as XRP in a different industry, like Chainlink, that haven't moved the same as XRP, okay? XRP is a payment system and there's many other coins and technology that does payment systems, okay? So, on the monthly here, we've got up volume 490 and down volume 607, which is not great on the monthly. It means there's more sellers on the monthly. Doesn't surprise because if we go back, it's returned an incredible return of 510%, right? And everything else has been, maybe 171 or 170 or whatever it might be, Tron 171. So to me, every crypto has its go. If you're in the right crypto, every crypto has its own timeline to when it goes up, right? They don't all go up at the same time. That's why crypto stock selection is so important, okay? Selection of your crypto in the industry is important and the best crypto in that industry, right? If we go, as I said, the daily, we've got 43.48 mil up and 40 down. So it's almost even Stevens. It's close to its VWAP here. VWAP is coming in on the daily at 2.94, and I wouldn't like to see it below that actually. If it can hold that VWAP on the daily, then it goes higher, but I wouldn't like to see it below that. If we look at the 4 hours here, again, it doesn't look as bullish as Bitcoin. I've got to tell you that. The 4 hours still, volume up is 11.27 and volume down is 14.27 mil, okay? So it doesn't look as strong, but it does need to hold that $3, okay? $3 is the line in the sand. And if it doesn't hold that level, then, you know, you may see some retrace on XRP just for the short term, okay? I am looking to buy XRP before you get down on me. I am looking to buy it around 255 or 240. I'm waiting for an entry point. But at the moment, it doesn't look technically as strong as other charts, like when I show you Tron, right? And as I said, I put out a buy order to my clients today for Tron. We've been buying it. We bought some the other day around 29th of July or something at 32 cents because I'm a portfolio manager. I buy things in increments, which is the best thing to do. If we look at the 3 months on Tron, it's just a perfect, beautiful chart, okay? This thing could get up to 45 cents, people, and that's where it's going. This is the best chart I've seen in the crypto market so far, right? 3 months, it's 9.57 bill on the way up, and down is 9.31 bill. If we go the 1 month on that, same story, 1.81 bill up and 1.45 bill down. I'm calling 45 cents on Tron as a minimum. You know, and when it gets through that, it's clear sky. This thing could be at $3 before we say Jack Robinson. And I do believe Justin Sun will burn Tron, okay? He will. Just like his mate CZ burns Binance. This guy will burn, okay? They're already through Tron Inc., you know, issuing debt into the market and equity to buy Tron. It's a no-brainer, people, a no-brainer. Let's look at the daily on this. Very, very strong, way above the VWAP. It's the strongest chart in the market for crypto at the moment, whether you like it or not, it just is. And we're putting our mouth where our money is, right? Our money where our mouth is. We're buying Tron. And I even said on Twitter today, I don't go on Twitter a lot, but I said it on Twitter too. Up volume's 190.52 mil and down is 104, right? That's on the daily. If you look at the 4 hours, everything is telling me Tron's going to go a lot higher, right? On the way up, 54 million. On the way down, 17 million, right? And that's volume. So Tron is a meganaut and it's going to go higher, absolutely higher. Okay, another one I want to look at today, and it's not doing much at the moment, is VeChain. We haven't looked at that for a while, but I do like VeChain. It's really underperformed and it's a very cheap entry into the crypto market. They've got an incredible client base. But clearly on the monthly, it needs to get above VWAP, okay? And VWAP is 0.03135. Hasn't done very much, but they're big in China and they're in sustainability. They're in, you know, anti-fraud and anti-fraud for goods and everything else. It's a great story. They have a lot of clients. And it's one of the designated cryptocurrency networks that's used in China, okay? So I'm keeping an eye on that one. Technically, at the moment, it still doesn't look very good, so we wait. The daily, it is above its VWAP. We might get a bull run out of this one, but I'm keeping an eye on it to wait to enter with the bull run on this. Hasn't done very well lately, but that's fair enough, right? Let's have a look at BCH. Again, I like BCH. Did get over $6 the other day. They sold it down, but I think they're going to be mistaken because this is a nice entry point to get to get some growth when Bitcoin gets through $1 million, right? Where do you think BCH is going to be? Back 5 years ago, BCH was at $4,500 when Bitcoin was at 68,000, right? We've been given a buy on the monthly. Up volume's 250, down volume's 207. It looks technically very good to me. On the daily, again, the daily is above its VWAP. VWAP on the daily comes in around, where's my thing here? Well, bear with me for a minute. Lost it. There we go. VWAP on the daily is 562, and we're currently at 576. We've been given a big buy week here. This thing's a buy, people. It's a big buy. Up volume 108, down volume 70, right? And the volume up convinces me this thing's going to bounce, right? 4 hours, Volume on this thing is 30.77 thousand, down volume's 24. Looks very, very good to me. Let's also, another one I want to look at is Link. Some good stories, Relink. Every day there's another story coming out, Relink. It's an amazing story. You know, Link should be, God, a lot, like a lot, you know, for what it does, right? Just gone above the VWAP, and that's on the monthly, and that's quite strong, right? VWAP's at 17.11. We've been given a buy here. This thing could take out its previous highs of 55 bucks, okay? On the way up, 11.8 mil. On the way down, 10.5. Look at the dailies on this. Again, above the VWAP, right? We've been given a buy and a big wick to buy. 2.32 mil on the way up, 1.23 on the way down. Looks very, very good to me. Again, 1.21 mil on the way up and 902,000 on the way down. We've got a big buy wick. This thing, again, the bigger picture could go to 52, 55 bucks. Oh. Sorry, I'm talking so fast, but I get a sore throat when I talk too quickly, I have to say. Let's have a look at Pepe, because it held four digits and a 1. And we know the big traders like Pepe. I certainly do, as a meme, as a favored meme. And again, it was right on the VWAP here, and it's actually holding. We haven't got a buy on the monthly yet, but let's keep an eye on that. Still a bit of selling around for Pepe. On the way down, 38 down, 38 trillion down. On the way up, 32 trill up. But let's look at the daily on this, see if we've got a change. It's just gone through a VWAP and just been given a buy on that on the daily, okay? The daily for up is 4.34 trill, and on the way down, 2.48. I think you're going to get a bounce out of Pepe. I think it could take out its previous high in this bull run. And this thing is going to make people a fortune if they buy it here, okay? I'm very, very bullish Pepe in the scheme of things. If you don't have a lot of money, you know, buy BCH, buy Pepe, buy Tron, you know, buy Link. But honestly, those are the ones. Technically, this looks quite good. Looks like it's going to break out. Could break out to 4013, right? Looks pretty good to me, right? And also the volume up is inducive to a bull in Pepe, all right? That's all the charts I'm going to look at. If you want me to look at the charts, that's fair enough. Just text me on my WhatsApp. It's Australian 61441419344. Happy to do that. But you know, it looks pretty good to me, and I think the bull is coming. People say to me, when are the alts going to run? They're going to run very soon. They're going to run very, very soon. Certainly, if Mr. Trump puts in that 401k order, which makes people buy crypto, you're going to see an absolute, you know, mass. The floodgates are open to crypto, right? And particularly if he puts in an order to fine the banks for not allowing crypto transactions, right? He's doing everything conducive for a huge, huge, huge bull run. Plus, with cutting interest rates, we're going to see the biggest bull. Like I said before, the risk is selling too early. That's pretty much it. Anyway, let's go to the news stories and see what we can glean from those. But all up, I'm mega, mega bull, people. Mega, mega bull.